Hi guys, this is Chris Salans, chef owner of Mozaic restaurant in Ubud, Bali. And as one of the chef judges for the Exquisite Restaurant and Bar Awards 2025, I'd like to welcome you to this interview.
Chef Chris, so you are among the first to champion Indonesian ingredients in a fine dining setting. How has your relationship with these ingredients evolved over the years, and how do they continue to inspire creations today?
You're right by saying that I'm a ingredient-driven chef. So without ingredients, I have no inspiration. So wherever I am in the world, you put me anywhere I am, I'm going to go to the market. I'm going to eat local, I'm going to shop local, I'm going to see, what grows there, and I'm going to use that in my cooking. I think to stay fresh and to stay close to the earth is so important in cooking. Not only do good ingredients give you good quality food, but also for the body. If you're living in a hot environment and you eat the vegetables and the meats from those areas, it will be suitable to your environment. So it's very important not to import and buy things from all over the world, but to really focus on where you are.
Mosaic has long been synonymous with refined French Indonesian cuisine. What's new at Mosaic right now, and how are you continuing to push the boundaries in the kitchen?
There's a lot of newness at Mosaic. We've also changed Mosaic into a multi-dining concept. So you can go to Mosaic and have the tasting menu and the wine pairings and the previous Mosaic experience. But you could also go to Mosaic for lunch or for dinner and have an a la carte menu of a different cuisine from a different kitchen. So we've done as much as possible to renew not only the cuisine, but also the experience to make it more interactive. You sit in 3 different areas. And there's a lot of interaction with the staff coming out and explaining the food. So it's a more interactive experience.
The culinary landscape in Bali has changed dramatically since you opened Mosaic. So from your perspective, what are the most significant shifts you've observed in Bali's dining scene?
Yeah, so definitely Bali has become quite a fine dining destination, which is great. First of all, I would say that there are a lot more Indonesians that are now chefs or chef owners that are now setting up their own fine dining restaurants. And I think that's super important. Second of all, something that I noticed that is also great is that I don't notice 2 fine dinings copying each other. I find that all the fine dinings are very specific, very unique. Whether it's Le Cavour, Blanco, Mosaic, Aperitif, the fine dinings that are down in Canggu and Seminyak. Everybody has their own style, their own signature, but because we're each doing our own thing and nobody's copying each other, we can really focus on what we're doing, and it becomes a labor of love and passion. I think it's great, that there's such a variety of fine dining. And people can really have fine dining more Spanish influence, South American influence, a fusion of French and Indonesian. They're all very different, and I think that's great.
You're preparing to reopen Spice by Black. So what can we expect from this exciting relaunch, and how will it differ from or build upon its previous incarnation?
First of all, it's going to be called Spice by Blake. Spice originally was very authentic, had more wood flavor. The interior, for example, had more wood, more Balinese artifacts or Indonesian artifacts. It had a strong Indonesian feel to it. The flavors were fusion. The new Spice is going to have a more modern look, maybe a little less Indonesian feel, still Indonesian feel, but less, not so traditional, a bit more contemporary, modern. The flavors will be similar. Some of the dishes will be the same, But some of the dishes will be completely different because the chef is different. So what we'd like to do is to come up with a concept that is fun, hip, where you go, you listen to music, you have drinks, you have bite, you hang out with your friends, and it becomes trendy. And then when they say, hey, what is this? We say, well, it's Indonesian. And so after Spice by Blake Ubud, we're already planning Spice Abroad. And so everything that you'll see at Spice Ubud will kind of relate as to why we're doing it, because we want to go abroad, or because we are going abroad. It's already confirmed.
Are there any standout ingredients or flavor profiles that have recently inspired you and influenced you and your upcoming menus at Mozaic or Spice?
Always. So as I said, I'm an ingredient-driven chef. The thing is, after 30 years in Indonesia, you would think, well, where do you find new flavors, right? And it's true. It's a challenge. You have to look for flavors. It's called foraging. You know, you need to go out and actually source. But interestingly enough, and I'm not sure why, I'd love to get the answer to this, but every year I still discover something new. We are still today, naturally, without actually foraging, discovering new flavors. But we're also discovering new techniques. I told you Blake is a much younger chef, which means that he's learned more modern techniques that I have. He uses technology. I used to be a laborer. You know, everything's kind of natural. He's using machinery and things to extract flavors. So we're discovering new fun ingredients that we're putting on the menu. Like I said, it's either natural or we need to forage, but there's plenty more to discover. And that's what keeps us going all the time. We're like, oh, what else can we find? What else can we find? You know, and that's really the exciting part of being a chef. I don't know if you remember the movie Ratatouille. Yeah, when he eats the cheese and he has all these things, it's a little bit like that. That's the best description of what happens in a chef's mind when he eats.
Yep, collaborated with chefs like Thomas Keller, and that has undoubtedly shaped your philosophy. What lessons that you have learned from those early years that still guide you or your approach in the culinary industry?
Each of us are shaped by our experiences. I worked in, let's say, 4 fine dining restaurants or 3 Michelin star restaurants. So Thomas Keller, I learned that small portions, so he does only tasting menus, right? And in small portions, when you only have 2 or 3 bites of a dish, it's wow. You have the first bite, wow. You try the second one, wow. And then you're like, oh, I want more. It's finished. Next dish. You do a la carte, where you have 50 bites of the same dish. The first 10 are exciting. After that, it's kind of repetitive. The excitement gets gone. More about eating than it is about the wow factor. So I learned that from Thomas, and it was very smart. Keep small portions, many flavors, always boom, 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 boom in the face. All these experiences build who you are. Both positive experiences and negative experiences can teach you a lot.
Looking back on your journey from Michelin-starred restaurant to redefining fine dining here in Bali, what advice would you give to your younger self at the beginning of your culinary adventure?
The advice I always used to say is, you have to go abroad and you have to have an experience abroad. What you can learn in cooking, especially Western cooking, or Thai cooking or Japanese cooking, in that country, versus what you can learn here is 100 or if not 1,000 times full, right? So I think it's very important, as much as you can, try to get an experience abroad. Even if you don't get paid, it doesn't matter. Internship, training, whatever you can do, go abroad and learn from the source, you know, and then come back here, because what you can learn here was limited. And I'm saying was instead of is because now there are more and more chefs, especially Indonesian chefs, that are opening fine dinings and restaurants, and therefore now you can learn more here. So the more people we have doing this, the better it is to represent Indonesia locally and internationally. So I think it's super important.